I'm Runya Qiaoan. My research area is mainly society, civil society in China. I'm a sociologist, cultural sociologist to be specific. And my research focus mainly on like civil societies in China, like non-governmental organizations, media, state-society relations, and sometimes also touching a bit upon the international relations. Well, yes, there are a lot of misunderstandings, of course, about a lot of stereotypes. Well, when it comes to, for example, about society, civil society, my PhD research is about civil society in China. To be specific, how NGOs, like non-governmental organizations, can influence government policies. Like, a lot of people would be wondering, like, is there any civil society in China at all, right? So that's the first question I need to answer, like whether we can actually apply this term civil society to a totally different society, like Chinese society, and how strong these non-governmental organizations can be in such a kind of authoritarian environment. And of course, they face a lot of obstacles, but I'm also amazed by their resilience and how much they can actually survive, and even in such difficult environment like now. Yeah, so that's kind of just one part, like the state society and non-governmental organization, this part of the research. And recently, because of the pandemic and my personal experience of living during the pandemic at the beginning in China and then at a later stage here, I also got the chance to compare a bit the reaction of people from China and from Europe, for example. When the pandemic started in end of January, like beginning of February, I was still in China, and I saw how actually quickly the civil society responded, and how much the social media, for example, Weibo, like actually played a big role, like in this process of informing people, informing each other, like what to do in this kind of environment, and how quickly people started to wear masks and so on. And then later on, actually the semester here started, and then I came to Europe, and then I also got the chance to see how like, for example, hand washing was much more emphasized here, and then this kind of really simple thing of wearing masks become very difficult here. Yeah, so this is like based on this kind of personal kind of experience and observation. I wrote an essay about the myth of masks, and how like the risk selection becomes something driven people whether to kind of quickly put on masks or just prefer some other measures. Yeah, so this was recently actually published in social anthropology. And another research actually just published now is about the foreign policy interactions between China and the US during the pandemic. Because I guess, as everybody have noticed, from February on, and there are kind of this really dramatic foreign policy reactions, interactions between China and America, right? Yeah. So with my co-author, Benedict Najayalowski, we approach this from a cultural sociological perspective, and we summarized what was going on since February, late February, early March, till end of May. And so we have this graph in this paper showing that how the policy, foreign policy actions from one side can trigger the action from the other side, and then it kind of stimulates the action from the other side. So how this become a performance of the politicians and to gain popularity among their own citizens. And so we have this theoretical framework named reactive performance. Yeah. And so you see like how the actor, the politicians have to perform and to meet the expectations of the audience, which are mainly the nationalist citizens. Yeah. So like this process we think is actually quite dangerous in such context. Like when there's global crisis, and we see how sometimes the actions from some politicians are not really helping us to tackle the situation. In a recent article, I'm now writing with my co-author, we look at a social media account created or affiliated by a Chinese official media account. And we were really astonished by the soft tactics and this social media account can use to attract people. And it's actually very successful and very popular. And we kind of name this the digital populism in the authoritarian context. So this is a case to kind of also challenge this kind of myth that populism is more a thing like only in democratic countries, right? So the politicians have to kind of please the citizens to gain the votes. Like people would think in authoritarian context and the government can't do anything and they don't need to kind of use these kind of soft tactics and to please the citizens. But actually, like, that's not true. And actually in our research we see that the tactics are really similar from the authoritarian context. And the works the government can do are like really, you will be shocked, like really the kind of article like they can write and to really gain popularity, yeah, among the citizens. So yeah, so this is one case which shows that the media in China is not really what a lot of people outside would imagine it is. Yeah, so it is much more complex.